begin with, as I said, I'm so glad to be here. I'm glad to talk about farming because it's the biggest part of my life. And beautiful, beautiful time of year. Huh? Amazing apple blossoms this year. Just so exciting, so exciting. Last year there weren't any. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, how I got into farming, growing vegetables. It was 1974. I was off the U.S. ski team. I had been just a few years away from out of the service. Didn't have a profession. I worked at a Putney school for a while as different projects there, but I was always gone every winter with the U.S. ski team for two, sometimes 3 months. So I really hadn't gotten into anything that I could call a profession. So I don't know if you all remember in the mid-'70s, it was the Back to the Land movement when all the hippies came out of the city. They'd read the book Living the Good Life by Scott Neary, and it was amazing, amazing time. So in my town, or the neighboring, in my town alone, there were 2 communes. People bareback growing vegetables. And then, so now they have all these vegetables. What are they going to do? They started a farmer's market. There were no farmer's markets. Nobody even heard of it. We had some roadside stands, people selling squash and stuff, but there were no farmer's markets. And so my dad had a big garden because I just told Susan Hannawald, he and my mother went through the Depression, and he promised my mother, Mabel, he says, Mabel, if you marry me, I promise you will never go hungry. And that was important back then. So, yeah. So he had a garden, a big garden, and I had a garden just because I was sort of copying him and thought it was a cool thing to do. And so I heard about the farmers markets, and we always had leftover stuff, giving produce away, zucchini, whatever. So I said, Dad, how about I take my pickup truck and load on some produce from my garden, your garden, go down to the farmers market. I did, and I came back with $200, which was about a week's salary back then. The light went on. And so the next Saturday I went again, 200. I went to Saturday on a farmer's market, flea market on Sunday, 200 plus almost 200. I picked up 2 or 3 restaurants, and I haven't worked for anybody since. That was 45 years ago. So yeah, that's how I got started. I mean, it wouldn't have happened otherwise. I mean, there were lots of them. There was one with Wooden Shoe over in Canaan, New Hampshire. There was one in Plainfield, and when he first started going to the Norwich farmers market, when you moved north from Putney, Jake Guest, Killdeer Farm, what's his name with the tomatoes down there in Thetford, Carl Hammer, who now has Vermont Compost, even Crossroad Farm. They came in at the tail end a little bit. They were all people from the communes and farmers markets. So, yeah. The reason we're called Four Corners Farm, or we still call ourselves Four Corners Farm, is that I was in Putney and then had got an opportunity to run a ski touring center in Randolph the winter after I got off the ski team, and my wife came. We biked together and stuff. We were going to school in VTC for agriculture. She was just off the U.S. ski team. She broke her leg badly and quit skiing. And anyway, she was staying in a house, a wealthy fellow from Connecticut, and as a kind of a caretaker, so free rent. And so this man, Sam Samus, Green Mountain Stock Farm over in Randolph, he asked her if he knew anybody that might want to run a ski touring center at his property. And so my name came up, and lo and behold, we did that. And then Kim had always wanted to farm. She worked on a farm, so I think it was that first spring, I'm pretty sure it was, we were going to farm. Where were we going to farm? We have no land in Putney, really. So we put an ad. This is an amazing story. We put an ad in a little periodical called the Vermont Farm. And a wealthy gentleman from Heartland Four Corners who wintered in California, he was about 80 years old, something. He came back to Heartland Four Corners, picked up his winter's mail, stacked this high. We had a classified ad, a 1x2, in the back pages of that magazine. Wouldn't you just dump all these pure? He found our ad and wrote us a letter. He says, I've got a farm, you can come farm it. in Heartland. Kim had already worked in Heartland on a dairy farm. I mean, boom, we were down there the next day. When I wrote, we were down there, and he said, sure, yeah, there it is, and you can live in the house with me. So we did. And I think the idea was he was getting old, he had some young company and take care of him. Well, hell, Kim and I were working till dark, and we come in, the old man was all skinny, all was trying to cook us dinner. Wonderful story. So yeah, we went through the summer and got going and started selling at the Norwich Farmers Market and had me put a little roadside stand on Heartland Three Corners in the top of a barn. And the next year, I think he decided that maybe he needed somebody else, so he got a housekeeper, a woman from England, and we all still lived in the house together. And amazing man. I mean, he let us cut timber on his property, and we finally built a shed with a little second story on one end to put our equipment in and our tractors, and yeah, no question, fine. He was happy as can be. So our first pick your own strawberry time, he said, well, Bob and Kim, we really need to have a name. Why don't we call it Four Corners Farm and Orchard? He has a small orchard. So we went down to Heartland Three Corners. There's Vermont hand-painted sign down there, company. And we took a piece of pine board, this by this, and took it down there and said, can you make a sign for us? Well, he came up with our logo, like our beautiful Four Corners Farm, vegetables, strawberries on it, $25. The logo we're still using to this day. So that's how we're Four Corners Farm. Anyway, the old man, he passed away, and the family didn't know quite what to do with it. We thought we wanted to buy it. Well, that's on Heartland Hill. That's billion-dollar alley down there. So we thought. So it was not, at that point, they didn't want to sell it. We needed a place to farm. So we started looking around, and a real estate agent had a piece of property listed up in Bradford, 10 acres of river bottom land or something. And so we met him down at the Hungry Bear, I think, in the parking lot there or wherever. And he said, well, yeah, but I've got something you might be more interested in. He showed us the farm we're at now. So anyway, that's why it's called Four Corners Farm, because out of reverence to the old man. We already built up a reputation and a logo. So, okay, so moving to Newbury, excellent soils, perfect location. We thought we wanted to be on Route 5 where all the traffic was, but Route 5 they straightened it in the 50s. It used to go right by the farm, over the hill and down that way. And we thought, we have to be on Route 5. No, it would have been a disaster. Now with the traffic, I mean, people backing out, getting run over. So no, it's just perfect. People can slip off. There's not much traffic. People can park and back out with getting honked at and everything else. So, yeah. And so we just started in. First year we decided we needed to put up a greenhouse. So we bought a greenhouse and put up a greenhouse. And then the next year, well, we have a second greenhouse. And so bit by bit, and you now have 13 greenhouses or something, I don't know. Yeah. So, and all the energy that Kim and I used to put into our skiing, we just transferred it into farming. I mean, the days weren't long enough. I mean, we were younger and faster and whatever. Not the same now anymore. But it's like, no, it isn't. Thank God, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. No, it's Friday already. I haven't got enough done. So yeah, it's a 7-day week, 12-hour day job, and that's fine because when it's your passion, it's not work. It's just not work. And so for us, it was easy. We don't get bored. We never got stressed out very much then, because Kim and I were doing all the work. We weren't dealing with labor or help or anything else. We were doing everything. Taking care of the land, that's just really important. We really, really believe in that. We're not organic per se, although probably 75% of our crops are grown organically because we have a dairy farm, which was also a disaster as far as financially, but we have a wonderful source of excellent manure. We don't do liquid manure. We use straw for bedding in the barn along with sawdust just so we can stack it without having it run everywhere. And the bacteria just love that, it makes wonderful manure. It's like gold, So, and manure is the best amendment for healthy soil. There's no question. It's got everything in it. I mean, nature has it all figured out, you know. The cow eats grass, and nature gives her bacteria in her stomach to, you know, to digest the grass, and that passes through her with all kinds of bacteria in her manure, and it's just magic, you know. My dad, I mean, he wasn't necessarily an organic farmer, but he read all the organic stuff, and we used to go around and get manure wherever we could find it. When back then we used to log with horses, we'd go find some horse shed and get some, or somebody had some in the back of their barn, had one cow, we'd go shove it in the back of the truck and take it home. He never put a bag of commercial fertilizer on the ground ever. And when I got into farming, I thought I knew it all. I thought I'd take a soil test of my dad's garden. It was perfect. Everything was perfect. Never put anything on it. I think the soil was a little sweet anyway from lime, just natural lime in the soil, because we had hard water down there, so that probably meant that there was a lot of natural limestone in the soil, in the bedrock. So, yeah. Rotation, that is the most important thing for soil health. A garden, a farm does not like to be tilled and cultivated. It's the worst thing in the world for the soil. It's like opening up the damper on your stove. It lets more air in, which just destroys the organic matter. So after you've used it 4, 5, 6 years, you beat it to death, really. You need to get off it and let it rest. And the best rest is just a mixture of grass, clover, like a pasture, or, you know, or now we're going in rotational crops like winter rye, of course, and then oats. And then now the big thing is out west, they're talking a lot about, because the farmers out there begin to think organic too, believe me. 10 years ago, 15, no. Now they're all beginning to think about it. They have these special blends of different kinds of seeds all put together, everything you can think of, you know, to rebuild the soil. I mean, the Midwest is, you know, that topsoil was 20 feet deep, you know, they could do no wrong, but you know, after a while it wears out. So we pretty soon, as you know, our lower land down there, it floods. We didn't know it the first year. We were lucky it didn't flood because we had everything down there. The second year, everyone said, you better get off there. And it's a good thing we did, because we had high water the second year, the highest I've seen it, almost a little higher than this year. It was just, you know, it was 7 feet deep over the bridge down there in the meadow. So we did, originally we bought down the road what we call the Red Barn down there by the stone house. We bought that from Arthur Hyde, which gave us 6 more acres of land that didn't flood. And then we have a piece of land up on Romance Lane, right in the village, Newbury, that Huntington Farm used to use, but they didn't need it, so they'd let us take it over. And now the really nice thing is, because Huntington sold the dairy cows, there's no money in dairy, believe me. They have all kinds of beautiful land up there in the Oxbow. Probably the best half of the Oxbow, because it doesn't flood. Most of it doesn't flood. So we've had a triangle 5-acre piece we grew potatoes on, and sweet corn and rye for straw, but now we need some new strawberry ground, so we're planting strawberries in the Oxbow. Virgin soil. Strawberries love virgin soil. So we're looking forward to next year having a bumper crop of strawberries. And now the latest thing we've done is, most farms, California, anywhere where they don't have a land base, they fumigate. You know, they still are, and you know, methyl bromide's been phased out, or they've been trying to phase it out for 10 years. They keep finding excuses to use it, but eventually it'll have to go. And then, so you need to find something of some kind of a natural fumigant. So now, a couple, 3 years ago, as a farmer in Iowa, we were in contact with all kinds of farmers because we're members of the North American Strawberry Growers Association. He said, Bob, this mustard really works, he said. It's just mustard, you know. You heard of mustard gas, World War I? That's where it came from. It makes its own kind of natural fumigant. So now every year, whenever we get a piece of land that we want to rest, we plant mustard. It gets to be 6 and 7 feet tall. And just when it is full bloom and before it gets too woody, so it's slowly go in with a flail mower and immediately come behind with a rototiller, incorporate it, and either roll it or try to water it to seal the gas in there. Your eyes will just water when you're doing it, so it's great. So yeah, and we see a difference, tremendous difference. You know, it's not a cure-all, but it really makes sense. So yeah, I'll go page 2 here. Let's see what I've got here. Okay, CSAs, they didn't have those when we started. I think it would have been a great thing. And now a lot of the young organic, whatever farmers, they start CSAs, which means that in the spring, usually you run out of money. I mean, if you saved enough, we usually try to save enough. This year, for the first time in a long, we didn't have enough. We got more family members there, and we didn't have a really good last 2 years with strawberries. We're trying to get back on track with them, so we actually ran out of money. We had to borrow money. But that's what a CSA is for. You know, you get in the spring, you need some money to get farming, so people buy shares into your farm, give you 100, 200, whatever, you have different shares, and that gets you into your harvest season, so you don't have to borrow money or not have to borrow too much money. But for us to start that now, it's a whole bunch of paperwork, and we're maxed out as it is anyway. And besides, we are community supported. Everybody comes and shops at our farm, and we thank them and we praise them, and so we are community supported. Yeah, no question. Yeah, cost versus expenses, ouch. Everything is costing us more. Labor's gone way up. We have migrants. They're legal because way years back when it wasn't, you just got migrants to come, and then after 9/11, everybody went berserk, and so we were busted one day, and they took all 7 or 8 of them, put handcuffs on them, and overnight, no chance to shower, get their clothing, get their money, and put them in a maximum security prison in Connecticut for a month. Maximum security. Just waiting for a judge to send him home. So he lost him right in the middle of the season. But, so, then we couldn't get him back. These guys had worked with us for years, so it took us 70 years to get him back. And but now we don't want them to ever go through that again. We don't want them looking over their shoulder, you know. But the regulations are really, really stringent. I mean, the housing, the this, the that, everything. And every year they keep increasing their basic wage. We have to pay them, which is fine. I don't mind paying them. They're worth it. But they're trying to stop you from hiring, want to force you to hire local help. I'd hire local help in a heartbeat. You know, if I could find someone that wanted to do it for 6 months of the year and work 12 days, 7 days a week, at least give them Sunday afternoon off to go shopping, do the laundry, whatever. But they just aren't available. Local kids, we've had them, and we're going to continue to have them. I've got some young kids this year, which is exciting. They want to work, 15, 16-year-old girls especially. They're the best workers. Fine, absolutely. We'll start you picking strawberries. If you can pick strawberries, you can do anything. And then we've had a lot of, young girls, whatever, start there, and they, I'll keep them as long as I can. We had a lot that worked in our farm stand, in our sales in the farm stand since high school and even from college, and they come back every year. They're wonderful, just wonderful. So, yeah. So we hire a local, our payroll in the summer. I don't know. This is at least 20. It's probably more than that sometimes. So we hire a lot of local help, and I want to do that. But the migrants are absolutely. We could not farm without them. We could not farm, and they're wonderful people. And it allows them to make a decent wage and send it home so they can finish their house or their children can go on to school. Okay, so why buy local? Well, I can say know where your food comes from for all kinds of reasons. So you don't have to have a romaine lettuce recall or a salad mix recall or a melon recall because someplace out in eastern Colorado or Yuma is where the lettuce came from. You know exactly where my spinach came from. If someone here gets sick from eating my spinach, I'm out of business. Problem solved. I'm all done. So this whole food safety thing, now they're trying to cram it down our throats. It's fine. It's just one more thing to deal with. But, we've been at it for 40 years, Also, supporting the local economy. I say we have 20 people on the payroll. We get our tractors fixed here. We buy fertilizer from Northeast Ag. We buy fertilizer from, what's his name, down in Bradford. you know. We feed a lot of money back into the local economy. Fresh. Our food is fresh. I always people say, well, want to ask you, okay, do you think fresh broccoli from California is better than frozen broccoli from Vermont or close by, or frozen broccoli anywhere? No. Broccoli picked in California, usually they get it picked and on the truck within 24 hours. Okay, maybe it took them 2 days, maybe 48, so there's 2 days. 4 or 5 days across the country in the truck. 4 or 5 days at least in a warehouse in Boston or wherever, New York, Hunts Point, and then another 2 or 3 days to get to stores, probably 4 or 5 days in the store before they sell it. So you got broccoli that's 3 weeks old. No, it's deteriorating. It's going backwards. Fresh is better. I mean, frozen is better. There's no question. Buy it frozen. Unless you know it's local. It came from Maine or from Four Corners Farm or whatever. So that's another reason, fresh. I always, people go, oh, yeah, for sure. And everybody should have a deep freeze, Freeze local, you can do it. It's not that big a deal. We freeze our own. We have so much food. We freeze corn, we freeze bean, we freeze peas. We had to buy peas this year because we didn't have enough peas. No, and it's like, whoa, what am I going to have tonight? Well, no, I had that last night. We eat like kings. Absolutely. We have more food. I feel really guilty. I wish I could invite everybody in for dinner. Really, because, there's so much good food. Now we have the beef from the Highlanders and the beef from the Jersey, and Charlie's got his pork, and we raise 100 chickens every couple of years just to do that too. So, and do you realize how much food we could grow if all the good land in the Connecticut Valley was growing food for people to eat and not cows? How about the Midwest? Hundreds of thousands of acres of corn and soybeans. We worry about feeding the world. I mean, we have incredible land. I mean, we just need to change the way we think about, maybe we shouldn't all eat so much corn-fed meat, Grass, cows love grass. That's what they need. That's what their body's designed for. And the cows could graze the hills and stuff where it's too steep to farm and keep the land open. Those Highland cattle we got them to keep the land open. They're up in a back pasture that even the old-timers couldn't keep open. It was just too rocky and too wet, and they finally let it grow back up. But that's where they are, picking out the grass between the stones. And every year we get more of them because they got a bowl there, and all of a sudden we have too many. And they'd never get grain except a bucket. When they want to call them, so they always come. And, it's like, okay, you rattle a bucket and they come, but they might get a spoonful of grain twice a year, a spoonful, And they do just fine. They're healthy as can be, and they've never been given a shot or grain, or we give them a mineral block because obviously they need minerals, Otherwise they're trying to eat dirt in the side hill. So, anyway, just think about it. I mean, the Salinas Valley in California is the one valley where all our broccoli and our lettuce comes from during the summer months when it's too hot in Yuma. It's only like 2 miles wide by 50 miles long. And they're feeding the whole country, from that one valley. Even Canada gets lettuce from Salinas Valley. So, we can grow all kinds of food, Just look at some of the countries around the world where everything is terraced. I mean, So, okay, sustainable. I think we're lucky to live here in the Northeast because, well, first of all, we don't get tornadoes, knock on wood. And flooding and whatever else happening down there, extreme heat. We get heat, but not like down there. So I think it's definitely getting warmer. When we first came here 35 years ago, it was not uncommon to get frost over in Corinth and Topsom, and we'd get our first frost in the valley here by the middle of September. Count on it. Now it's the middle of October. We're selling corn and picking strawberries until the middle of October. So, And we also got ticks, which we didn't have. I grew up in the woods. Never had a tick on me. I was in the woods all the time, crawling around, playing forts, never. So that's another benefit of climate change. So yeah, if the food were grown locally, we wouldn't be held hostage if we get, some disaster or whatever. And all that food that comes from California and Mexico and even Florida comes in a tractor trailer truck, burning diesel, wow, belching black smoke, And if you want to go Interstate 80 and head west, you see what I mean. It's a solid line of trucks coming back from California or wherever, So, yeah. In Switzerland, I've been there many times because we did an exchange with some Swiss farmers once, and their sons came work for us. But they have a decree there that 60% of the food has to come from Switzerland, because they figure if there's another war there, they can't get food because other countries are at war or whatever. They can survive on 60% of the food. They just have to eat less and be a little more careful. But so if they can grow tomatoes in Switzerland in the summer, when they can grow tomatoes, they cannot import tomatoes. Boom, just simple as that. But Switzerland can do that. We will do it. That's the way it's going to be. So I'm not saying we have to do that here. Just, why get asparagus from Chile? Get it local. Freeze it, whatever. So, or eat seasonally. I'm a big thing of eating seasonally. In the winter we don't go to the store. Well, I could say we don't. I buy wine and some other things I cheat. But really, the only thing we need to go to the store for is toothpaste and toilet paper. Really, because we can grow everything else. Potatoes store beautifully, beets store beautifully, cabbage stores beautifully, carrots. We still got carrots and cabbage from last year. Yeah, about March I get a little sick of coleslaw, so then I cheat and go buy a head of romaine lettuce. But that's all. But I could not do it. Somebody held my feet to the fire. But yeah, you can make wonderful salads out of carrots, and beet salad. In Scandinavia, because they're a northern country, when I go over there for my ski trips, they always have these wonderful carrot and beet salads and things. So, and I don't know when it's going to happen. I hope it'll happen soon. But gas is way too cheap in this country. It is way too cheap. That's our big problem. That's why everybody's driving cars. It's dirt cheap compared to where it is the rest of the world. Just in Canada, it's $5 a gallon. They survive. They got free health care too. Guess what? They probably I'm sure they tax the hell out of it. But look what they're getting, I go there all the time for ski trips. They're all fine. They're fine, Their cars are a little smaller. Their houses are a little smaller, Norway, just get back from Norway, it's $7 a gallon in Norway. It's 7 to 8 in Italy. I don't know what it is in France, but it's up in that range, So then mass transit really begins to make sense, And we have less pollution. And we're spoiled up here in Vermont. Let's face it. I'm getting political now, but I get down anywhere south of Connecticut and go down headed to Florida or West Coast. How can there be so many cars? How can they pump it out of the ground fast enough to put it in the car? It's just unreal. It's unreal. So enough of that. So what do I got on the last page here? Okay, I've already said most of this stuff. Yeah. So growing local. As I said, we have 13 greenhouses. We couldn't survive because our selling season or growing season wouldn't be long enough to survive. But we're selling stuff now. We'll start about since the middle of May, and by another 2 weeks we'll have strawberries, and we're rolling. We can make enough money to begin to pay back some of our debt. And so we have produce from May, June, July, August, September, October, and we could go into November, except I want to be over by then. So yeah, we're talking about 7 months. Anything you could ask for. You see in the summer, you've got everything in there. Flour, everything except artichokes and okra, and oranges and bananas and whatever. But everything else is there. And we can grow it here. We can grow it really well, too. Really well. Yeah, actually, it's better than they can further south where it gets too hot. And we've been growing sweet potatoes now, which we thought was a southern thing, but we figured out how to grow that, too. So, yeah. Yeah, that's basically all I got to say. I'd love to answer questions. Yes?
Do you grow peaches?
Can't. No, not quite. I think maybe maybe West Newbury could do it. Down in Putney, where I grew up, we're on West Hill, which is like, West Hill would be similar to West Newbury. Putney Village is on the river. It gets too cold in the winter, you know. Down there it's 10 below. Here it's 20 below, or used to be. But West Hill, you know, it doesn't get down to 10 below very often. My older daughter lives in the place I built on Putney Mountain. That's up at 1,700 feet, like Tucker Mountain. I think Tucker Mountain you could grow peaches because it doesn't get so cold. Cold air is like water; it flows downhill. See, it may be windy, but it's not 10 below zero. It might be. I don't know. We have to see.
I've got a peach tree, but one year it
Yeah.
got too cold.
Yeah.
And it survived, and it turned out that what was not the smallest kind, the mid kind, turned its, because it froze the lower branches
Yeah.
and whatnot, it now is a bigger tree. But I got peaches a year ago.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of blossoms this year.
Good.
But it's a gamble every
Yes,
minute.
it's a gamble. It's a gamble. Yeah.
How many of the peach trees do you have to have? Do you have to have two?
These are self-fertilizing.
Oh, where'd you get it?
Well, Guernsey maybe or something, I can't remember where I got it.
Gurney.
I ordered.
Yeah. No, that's true. So, yeah.
There's a Finger Lake variety that
Yes.
does better.
Reliance from the, it used to be Reliant.
It's from the Finger Lakes region.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, there used to be one called Reliance out in New Hampshire, but we tried, my folks, when we bought the farm, we planted an orchard and peaches. No, they all croaked. It was too cold, yeah.
What do you wish you could grow that you haven't been able to? And the second part of the question is, what are you looking forward to? What is the next big thing that you're looking into?
No new things. For us, we started as a strawberry growers, and that was our thing, and then we struggled the last, well, I'm almost say 10 years. We ran out of new soil, and then we got into a virus situation that nobody was talking about, and we suffered with it for 3 or 4 years. The virus came with the plants, and we couldn't afford our plants are all dying. Nobody was saying anything about it, because if you're a nurseryman, you say you got a virus, and nobody's going to buy your plants. But we're members of the, I'll answer your question in a minute, but we're members of the North American Strawberry Growers Association. We go to their annual meeting every year, big, huge meeting, and one year was in Florida. I went out to dinner with the French Canadians and sat beside a woman, and she said, "Virus, Bob, it's everywhere." Yeah, so once you figure that out, and the aphids spread it. I'm not worried about aphids and strawberries. Yes, you are worried about aphids and strawberries because they spread the virus. They take, ingest the juice and they go to the next plant, and when they become, aphids get wings after a while, and then they fly to the next field. So we got that figured out, and then, but some transition problems with family moving in, and now Charlie and I are really into it now. We're going back into strawberries, so I want to be able to grow strawberries and grow them well, because strawberries are hard to grow. And everybody, a number of years when the big pick your own thing was rampant, everybody's growing, they found out after a couple of years, first year you can do no wrong because you got that virgin soil, and then next year you're okay, but after 4 or 5 years they don't grow so well, and then it's a lot of work. If your husband's an engineer and making many money, he doesn't want to slave away to make grown strawberries. So I think next big thing, I don't see it. I know. I have sweet potatoes. I don't like sweet potatoes. My wife and everybody loves them. I can't stand the thing, so I'm not going to grow sweet potatoes. They can grow them. We just want to do a better job, just a better job. Yeah.
How do you store your root crops?
We have a walk-in cooler. Well, the root cellars are really good. I think at some point, I don't know, maybe if it had the right place, I might go back and build a root cellar.
Don't you have to have a natural spring that goes through it to keep it cool?
No, I think if you have a dirt floor put some crushed stone on top of it, that's really good. It's also good cider for hard cider. I'm a good seller for hard cider too. Yeah, I just back into the ground. Yes, absolutely, yeah. It's amazing how well things keep. Sometimes in our walk-in cooler, what we do, it's pretty well insulated. One is really well insulated, so we put an electric heater in there and set it at 35 degrees, and it doesn't run too much, and that's enough to keep things. But if you had a dirt floor and moisture, then your carrots wouldn't get a little dehydrated. We don't bury them in sand or anything, we just put them in a plastic bag, which works pretty well. But you can't put carrots and apples in the same place, because the ethylene gas in the apples makes the carrots bitter. There are a few things you can't do, but no, absolutely, it's, yeah. Yes?
Can somebody else develop a farm like yours, starting now somewhere in Vermont?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
There aren't many farms. I don't know. Our lieutenant governor has a big farm over in.
Yeah, oh, they're everywhere.
How many farms your size are there?
Not our size, smaller. We're a little too big, maybe.
Yeah.
Financially, we got to really get it together now and tighten up a little bit, because too much labor.
When we're too big to really, being big causes a lot of financial.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're getting younger. I said we're getting older and slower. You know, when my wife and I were doing a loan, we were paying off mortgages, and
Yeah.
now it's, you know, mortgages are all paid. We don't owe any money. We made everything we had is paid for by selling vegetables here in Newbury. We did not inherit a farm. When I got off the ski team, I was broke, so it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. And there are lots of farms. The organic movement is huge. They have a meeting every year in February, and 1,500, 2,000 people show up. Yeah. We used to have the Vermont Small Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association. When we first started years ago, there might be 20 growers. Now there's 300 people at the meeting. Yeah, it's alive and well. We're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time, and it's still, you just have to find a niche, you know. If you're going to start wholesaling, that's a double-edged sword. Yeah, you can move more product, but you aren't going to get as much for it. But the demand is still there, you know. And if you wholesale, they expect it packaged a certain way, clean, a certain count in the box. That's what they're used to. So you've got to provide that. They aren't going to say, well, I'm sorry, I don't have any today, or, you know, no. If you're going to commit to a wholesale, you've got to make sure you have enough so you can supply them. And that's just a learning curve, you know, for a lot of new growers. They haven't quite figured that out yet. So, I mean, yeah, we're still getting so much for our food from out of state.
How do you control fungus? Do you have a problem with it, or?
Yes, it's a year like this with the strawberries, once they're in blossom, that's where the strawberries, that's where the fungus starts. Fungus likes dead material. You get a strawberry blossom, and inside that blossom is the strawberry forming. When the strawberry begins for the blossom still there, the blossom happens to stick to the strawberry fruit. You're going to have a rotten spot right on that strawberry, just like that. So, all our tomatoes now are grown in the greenhouse, because outside tomatoes get early blight and late blight and every other thing. We don't grow any tomatoes inside. We don't have to spray them in the greenhouse. You know, we got problems with insects, but we get predatory insects. That works really well. We get them every week. Cucumbers love the greenhouse. Raspberries love the greenhouse. Just love it. I don't know why. They aren't even in a greenhouse. They're just in a tunnel. They love it. I don't know why. Everybody finds the same thing. Yes?
I'd love to see you guys all organic. Is that ever gonna happen?
No, not well. It could happen in the future. We also have a dairy farm, and my wife didn't want to do organic dairy, and then she runs that part of the show. So, I think as long as it has strawberries, I wouldn't grow organic. They're just too difficult to grow organically. Way too difficult.
What about, do you have solar panels?
Yes. Yes. Want to do more. Yeah. 50% of our electricity now is from our 50% is from our solar panels. Our electricity bill is $1,200 a month, so that's, I'm not sure about the payback. I don't even care. That's not my reason. The reason is because it's the right thing to do. Yes, your question.
I would make a comment, you said about the broccoli, full
Yeah.
soul, or whatever. A buddy of mine, when he moved to this Imperial Valley of California,
Yeah.
he said, I live among hundreds of acres of lettuce.
Yes.
He said, there's not a good one in the grocery store, and I said, well, my answer was illegal, but,
Say again, the last one?
my answer to the bad lettuce in the
Yeah,
supermarket
yeah.
was illegal.
Yeah.
He, go out and steal it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even out there, they can't, it takes maybe a week to get to a Safeway or something.
Yeah, I know. That's the winter where they grow lettuce in the winter down there, in Imperial Valley and also in Yuma too. They don't grow it in the summer there. Yes. Well, I'm gonna grow some this year. I don't know why, just because I have a good friend of mine. Well, Howard Prusik, High Meadows Farm. He was one of the original guys in the commune. A little Jewish boy from New York City came out of the city, and he's a hell of a businessman. He and I used to go to the farmer's market together way back then. And gets the right kind of hemp seed and is growing hemp plants. And I saw him at the meeting this winter, and I said, yeah, I'll just try 50 plants. Why, I don't know, but the market's there for it.
I'm trying it. I'm figuring out a few things this year.
Wally Gladstone is growing 25 acres.
Who is?
Newmont Farm, Wally Gladstone.
Oh, they are.
Oh, he won't miss a trick. He'll get educated.
Now, is this strictly for CBD or they're doing?
CBD, yeah. Buddies over there that have a Vermont pharmacy with an F. And they went over and helped them strip the whatever. Yeah, so, and Kim, my wife, who doesn't believe in marijuana, anything related to marijuana or whatever, is using the CBD oil and swears by it. Swears by it. And she rubs it on and she swears by it. And she wouldn't, because she's a believer, otherwise it wouldn't, yeah.
Okay, so interesting. I'll have to-
Bob, you've been farming a long time here. How do you observe any changes because of climate change?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
What evidence have you seen?
Well, it's just a longer season.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, longer, no question. As I said, when we first came, we had frost in the middle of September, and now it's middle of October. A whole month.
Any drawbacks, any problems that it's creating?
Ticks. No, I think we're getting more violent rainstorms. I see more erosion than I used to see, Riverbank's always eroded. We've lost a tremendous amount this year with high water again. Oh my God. It's 20 feet down. It's only 10 feet from the corner of our greenhouse down there. That's a $10,000 to $15,000 fix, because we did fix it once already. That cost $10,000. So I don't know. Yeah. And I'm wondering, yeah. I don't know.
Can you really protect the banks?
It could be done, but the government needs to spend money on that kind of stuff instead of something else. It could be done easily. Here I go to Switzerland again. They tell us, oh no, you can't straighten that stream out down there that wanders through the meadow and takes all this good land, and you can't do it. They do it in Switzerland. The whole valley down there where the river flows, whichever Rhine or whatever, flows in toward Geneva, Lake Geneva. It's only a mile wide, and there's mountains on each side. And that river used to do this. It goes straight down the middle. And they have little waterfalls every 100 feet to break it up, so it doesn't get up speed. No, they don't have that kind of land in that valley. Every inch of it is valuable, so now I gotta let the river take it away. And we could do it here, but no, it needs a natural flow. No. There's no question. It's eroding every year down our meadow. Every year, chop. Pretty soon it'll cut across, and then we lost a whole chunk of land. And
Do you have any thoughts on protecting, say, Lake Champlain and the Connecticut River too?
well,
Washington?
yeah, pollution from agriculture. Yeah, I don't want to spread manure down there. They just did this year. It was all went underwater. So I don't know. Either wait till, I don't know. Big farms are a disaster. An absolute disaster, because manure is a waste product instead of for us it's pure gold. Here we go again on my soapbox. So we've got cows. We milk 30 jerseys. It's a 1950s dairy farm, right? It's the way farms were all over. The Tunbridge, Chelsea Valley are beautiful farms everywhere. West Newbury, everywhere. The cows in the summer go out and harvest their own feed, and they spread their own manure. Duh. Duh. What makes more sense? And every cow flop that lies down there, you can tell because the green grass will grow around it. Cows will eat around it. But pretty soon the insects come up from the bottom and just chew it up, and then pretty soon it's gone. It's just beautiful. So you see, look on a side hill in the spring when the grass first starts to grow. If a cow pees on a side hill, see that little green strip of green grass? That's where they peed. fertilizer to grow the grass. Come on. You know, and it doesn't stink. You know, you don't have to hold your nose when you go through town. In Norway, I visited a farm in Norway once I was over there in the winter during the Olympics when I went over to watch the Olympics. And I toured a dairy farm. Most of the farms there are on side hills and there's a big lake in the bottom. Guess what? They can only spread manure for 3 months of the year when the grass is growing. They will not let them spread it otherwise because it's going to run down and go into the lake. When the grass is growing, that liquid manure goes by, plants it, sucks it right up, turns it into grass. No.
There was a movie over in Montpelier Plains, the way they feed the biggest little farm, talks about that.
Yeah.
One thing works on another.
Oh, yeah.
Cut
They
up right on one.
restored a farm that was just absolutely devastated, it was like a desert.
But they had a fortune, it was 240 acres.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know, yeah. And the same thing, it was a hog farm or a chicken farm, you know, the same thing, you know. It's a waste and they get too big, it becomes a waste product and they got it in some holding area somewhere and get a flood and it breaks and guess where it goes, folks. You know. But that's, you know.
Do you think that the state ought to help the big farmers, big dairy farmers out on the west side to break up their farms into smaller farms so that they don't pollute?
Well, the problem is that the dairy farms are going down the tube anyway. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they
They seem to be getting bigger. You know,
they have to get, that's the only way that they can make ends meet. And they aren't making ends meet either. They're not making ends meet. The solution for dairy is what they've done in Canada. You have a quota. Go across the border. The farms are all prosperous, they're built, they're all painted, there are no junk tractors, and they make a good living. But if you want to start a dairy in Quebec, or in the rest of Canada for that matter, you can only start if you can buy somebody else's quota. An older gentleman, he wants to quit or retiring, then you can start dairy farming. You cannot go up and start milking cows unless you can buy a quota. Simple, simple. And if Canada decides there's a little too much milk, they say, well, your quota this year is probably not cows, it's 3 some gallons of milk less. If you make more than that, you can't give it away. You either feed it to the pigs, or feed it to the cows, or dump it over the bank. Simple. But we don't think that way here. It's a free country. We can do what we damn well please. Yeah. So. No, it's so simple. Kim worked for a dairy farm in Heartland. I can go on forever. No, seriously. A good dairy farmer, Lee Mack's farm in North Heartland. She was into dairy. And Louis Maxfield, he was so good. He said, Bob, if every farmer would decide to feed 10% less grain to his cows, the cows would live longer. He wouldn't have to spend any money on grain. The production would go down, and we'd make more money. But every farm, more grain means more milk, more grain. Those cows are eating half a bushel of grain per cow every night. It's not good for them. Poor little Jersey cows, making 100 pounds of milk. They're meant to give 30, 40. You know, they don't last 5 years. They're done. Done. Yeah. I got a Highland cow that's 30 years old. Give me a calf every year. Yeah. Just eating old grass up in the hill. Yeah. No.
You mentioned something when you were talking about mustard.
Yeah.
And you plowed it under and you were trying to seal it.
Yes.
What does the gas, I gather you were keeping the gas in,
Well-
what does it do?
Well, it must sterilize the soil somewhat. It definitely helps with weeds. I think more importantly, it helps with other diseases that are in the soil.
It kills the insects and that kind of thing?
Well, I don't think so, because the soil responds so well afterwards. We always plant winter rye, and Charlie's in charge of all the winter rye. He plants too much sometimes because we have but we had one field, and I accused him of seeding too heavy a rate. We usually go with a bushel an acre. These dairy farmers put out 2 or 3, they just scatter it, and they get paid to do it. And then they harrow it in, so they put out. But I said, he said, no. It was after we had the mustard. It is so thick and so tall just from the mustard. Just amazing, yeah. And it adds organic matter. I mean, organic matter, anything you plow down, anything you put down the soil that rots. Grass is fantastic. Even sawdust, it takes sawdust a long time to decompose. The bacteria doesn't like it. They don't like sawdust. They love straw. Leaves, anything that rots adds organic matter. And it's all about organic matter that holds the nutrients, that holds the moisture.
Beneficial fungus too.
Oh yeah, there's everything there.
So when you plant winter rye, you don't plow that land, do you cut it and just, I mean, you're not.
We're using it mostly for both. What the winter rye does is it's a very heavy feeder, so any fertilizer, nitrogen that's left over from the summer from growing the crop, the rye takes it up and puts it into a stock. And it's stored. It doesn't leach. It doesn't go into the river. And then when you till it back under or mow it in the spring, then it slowly decomposes and gives you back your fertilizer. It's magic. It's just magic, you know. That's how the Great Plains were formed. You know, prairie grass is 6, 7, 8 feet tall, and every year they die and lie down and then and slowly rot. Or the buffalo would tread them into the soil, you know. And then soil got deeper and deeper and deeper. And so,
But you're not turning your soil over like with a plow.
don't like to plow, but I will plow like up on Huntington's. It's sod ground, been in pasture forever. He said never planted any corn there. I'm really excited about it. I found that years I used to plow, you plow over, boom, and you come back 2 years later and you plow it back up. Nothing's happened to it. So we always rototill it first before we plow it to mix it all together to get more air or maybe get the bacteria. So now then it's close to all the good stuff's in the top 6 inches, right? Where's the fence post rot? Ground level. It never rots down 2, 3 feet down. That's where the bacteria is. It eats everything up. It's just
We know you don't like sweet potatoes, but what's your favorite vegetable?
to eat.
Yeah.
Boy.
Not cabbage in March.
No, I love coleslaw in the summer. Yeah. No, I have no favorite.
How about your favorite to grow?
Rhubarb. You ought to see our rhubarb. We can grow rhubarb. First of all, I think it's an heirloom variety that came from our neighbor to my folks, and then if I moved, I'd taken it with me. And people have trouble growing rhubarb. What it likes the best is green, sloppy cow manure, last thing in the fall. Lay it right on, just in the spring it goes boom when it bursts up through. It just takes, it's beautiful. It's 5 feet tall now almost, 4 feet tall, literally, the rhubarb. And solid, and it gets too crowded, so it needs to be, it's just getting too crowded. So one year I had Ted's excavation there with a small excavator. I said, well, I need to plant some more rhubarb. It's too crowded, I need to thin this bed out. So I planted Route 5, the highway is right close to where the rhubarb is, and he's up here and he goes with the excavator, swings around and puts a rhubarb clump on the wagon. Boom, 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 boom. Drove the wagon down to right next to the railroad tracks, 900 feet long. Took that rhubarb and cut it with a shovel, right, into little pieces. Every clump ended up 15 pieces of rhubarb, just a clump. Now we have a 900-foot row down by the railroad tracks. Beautiful rhubarb with the same green cow manure on it. It just loves it.
You sell that all locally? Right?
Yeah, we got to sell more, but the price was really good for wholesale for a while. Then it went, somebody got figured out, did something, but no.
Do you supply to any restaurants now?
Only the Colatina. Yeah, we used to do restaurants all the time, but that's a whole nother thing, you know. Yeah. It takes a lot of organization and computer and keep track of accounts and make calls. And, you know, we do sell wholesale to the Littleton Co-op and to the Woodstock Farmers Market, which is a store, not a farmers market. It's a long drive, 50, you know, it's 50 an hour down there almost. But they take lots of stuff and will pay us a really good price to deliver it down there.
Do you buy seeds every year or do you reuse?
Oh no, we buy seeds. Yeah, nothing wrong with saving seeds, but there's such a thing as hybrid vigor, you know, that you don't get when you save the seeds. Hybrid vigor. Same with people and plants and everything. You do things, and the first generation has hybrid vigor. And that's what you get when you buy seeds. But no, we could say, yeah.
Well, one year, we actually saved some sugar snaps, and I
Yeah.
planted the next year, and they were great.
Yeah.
We eat them, so.
Yeah.
Save 'em.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just with us, time is what we never have enough of. This time of year, we just find it. And this rain's made it difficult because we can't get things done. I mean, today I was going to do all this kind of stuff, but it's still too wet in the field to go slop in the mud between the rows of stuff, so. And we grow a tremendous amount on plastic. It's plastic, okay, but plants love it. And we don't have to cultivate, so we're not wearing the soil out. If we get really heavy rainy period, it's not raining under the plastic, and we can give them water when they need it, so we don't drown the plants. And we raise the beds up. When we make the beds, we have a machine that goes one pass, puts a drip line down, puts fertilizer down, raise the beds up, puts down the plastic. Done. Yeah.
You have a lot of enthusiasm for what you do. If you had not discovered farming, what would you have done for a career?
I always, when I was growing up, wanted to be a forest ranger. I'm not sure that would have happened or not, but yeah. No, I'm not sure.
Would it ever be feasible for you to sell some of your manure?
Yeah, except that we don't have enough. We're actually still buying it. Yeah, I don't like to buy. We buy some of this chicken manure from Ben and Pete and Jerry's, what it is. Yeah, not Ben and Jerry's, just Pete and Jerry's. Yeah. Yeah, and that's really good stuff, but really nasty to work with. It's really potent stuff. And that we put on ground to grow grass or to grow mustard or rye. Same reason. The plant will take up all that nitrogen and grow it into stalk, right? And then slowly gives it back to us. Yeah. And sweet corn. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, you traveled so much, Europe, Mexico, all over the place. What's the most useful thing that you brought back that hadn't caught on yet in the U.S.? Wasn't there something?
Well, farming-wise, I mean, the North American strawberry growers, I've been a member for 40 years, Well, I went to Mexico and visited the farms down there and tried to grow blackberries, those beautiful raspberries, And I thought, well, it's too cold for the winter, so I'll put them in a greenhouse. And then it still was too cold. And then we realized that it's just one more thing we couldn't manage. But not really. I mean, Europe, I haven't visited many farms in Europe, So, although we're pretty much in touch with what they're doing. For a long while, we were getting tomato plants from this organic tomato growers in Quebec. We became really good friends. And Quebec is much more in touch with what's happening in Europe because of the French connection than the rest of North America. They're really in touch. And so a lot of the varieties, a lot of the techniques that they were using came directly from Europe. And we basically copied us. Our tomatoes are grown organically because that's how we learned to grow them. We don't need to. We can take care of insects with predators. We have organic fungicides now that you can use if we need to use. We don't have to use many fungicides in the greenhouse. Occasionally we'll get something like powdery mildew. It's a bad one because it somehow likes the environment in the greenhouse.
Have you thought about grapes by any chance?
Grapes? No, because no. We got too much going on. Fiance now is really, really going, filling and doing a lot what Kim used to do, and transition's really difficult. We're working on it now for 4, 5, 6 years. It's a long time, to figure that out. I don't mind giving up the reins, but I don't want to see the farm go under. That's the problem. And occasionally I have to stick my foot in and say, you better do something different because this isn't working. But I try not to do that because that offends people and stuff. But I think we're okay. But
What's your prediction for the next 30 years?
here, in Vermont, for the farm, or we're just, I think, as I say, I think we're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time. I think it's only going to get stronger. Yeah, and these new growers, they've got the internet. They didn't have the internet, And the information is flying around like crazy. They have this listserv that people, how do I do this? How do I do that? I won't tell them. It took me 50 years to figure that out. You figure it out yourself. I should be a nice guy. No, I don't tell them. I'm terrible. I mean, I admit it. I am terrible. You figure out the hard way. That's the way I did. No, if it's not too secret, I'll help. I'll give him a few words of advice. But no, it's a wonderful life. I mean, it is, and I think as my my older son's fiance, I mean, I think she's figuring out, that it's a really wonderful place to raise a family because you don't have to get daycare. I mean, you can put them on your back and let them crawl around the dirt. And for a while, when Kim and I were really going, and we were really busy, and we had 2 young children growing up, and like, hurry up, eat your breakfast, you gotta get out. No, hurry up. So we got a young woman from France, an au pair. It was fantastic. Yeah, she was amazing. She was, and so she'd feed them breakfast at a leisurely rate and get them fed, and then she'd go out, and she actually work on the farm stand part of the time too. She was great. Yeah, just great. And so, it was much better on them than, trying to get them to eat fast. But no, and then after a while, they can be there. They grow up with you, and they make them pick a quart of strawberries every day or every morning to at least, even if they aren't very good at it, at least make them understand what it takes. No, wonderful place to grow up and raise a family. And
How does an 80-year-old keep up the pace that you've been doing?
I'm slowing down.
So now you're 60 years old.
No, yeah. And because I mean, this is off the subject, but I still ski every winter. I've been skiing forever. I mean, it was my life until I started farming. And it was good to me because being on a member of the U.S. team, I got to travel and, go around to different countries and didn't make it. There was no money back then. I was absolutely broke when I finished skiing. I was in debt. But I had good experiences and traveled and met people. And now I'm still doing it in the World Masters, which is kind of neat, really neat. Masters starts at age 30, although it doesn't really get competitive because nobody's really doing it then. By the time you get to be 45 and 50 and 55 and 60, it's very competitive. I mean, there'd be the 65-year, 80 people just chomping at the bit. When they say go, if you don't get going, they'll run over you. And so now it's going the other way. My age group I used to be 80 people, now it was 60 people, and this year it was only 40 in my age group. It's 5-year age groups.
How did you do in Norwich?
Not as well as I wanted, but is all I could expect. I got a silver and a bronze. 2 silvers and a bronze. But the people who are beating me are still back in they're still back in that age group. I'm going up. So next year, I got to train harder. No, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And the oldest gentleman, 3 years ago, was in Switzerland. He was 91 then. Oh. And the age group ends 85 to 90. They didn't have a 90 to 95 age group. So it was very embarrassing for the organizers, because here's this guy, and they had to rustle around and find the prize. And so now they have 90 to 95. And he went this year to Norway. He's 93 years old. He has no competition. There's nobody else racing. But the audience, the competitors go absolutely berserk. They cheer and they cheer and they clap because there's hope for me, they're thinking. There's hope for me, see? So it was very inspiring. It was very inspiring, yeah. No, I've been to, Norway, Sweden. This is in Masters, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Austria, Switzerland, France, Italia, Russia, which was the best trip of all.
Siberia, right?
Yeah, just on the edge of Siberia. It was fantastic. And only 12 Americans went because it's Russia. Come on, folks. And only of that, it was husband, wife, so only 5 or 6 of us racing. Every night, the opening ceremonies, the awards were phenomenal with ethnic singing and dancing and costumes. They did it. It was beautifully run, but it's just, this country, we're just, come on, folks, travel more, We don't know it all.
Yes.
We don't know it all, There's a lot of things they're doing over there that are way ahead of what we're doing. And, and then we wouldn't be saying some of the things we're saying. So, anyway.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, you know, farming's a good life, and if I were to start over, I'd do the same thing.